Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Huddle Rodeo. It is Wednesday, July 16th. Today we are talking improbable barrel racing wins, a bareback rider on the rise, and a team roping reunion in Colorado Springs. This is No Huddle Rodeo. We are brought to you by Runyon's Fine Furniture and Justin Boots here on the US Cowboy YouTube channel. So let's start with that barrel racer, Anita Ellis from Blackfoot, Idaho, and her improbable victory. She started the week in Calgary, ranked number 32 in the world. Respectable, very respectable. She had about $34,000 won. And to paint the picture of Anita Ellis's career, she's really only been going for the last 3 or 4 years since 2022. And she goes to 15, 16 rodeos a year, almost all exclusively in the summer. So this past year, for example, she went to Tucson, she went to a circuit finals, but she's not in any of the big Texas swing rodeos. So she, through the spring and summer, had won about $34,000. Well, this year in the WPRA, the Calgary Stampede money counts 100% of it. And so she swept Pool A to start and set the arena record in the process with a 1679. So even if she did nothing else, she had already won $21,000. She'd already had 3 sub-17 second times. That would have been good enough to get her into NFR contention. But then she goes and ties Cassie Mowry for the second spot to get into the 3-person showdown. In the 3-person showdown, it was Anita Ellis, number 32 in the world, never even sniffed the NFR. Cassie Mowry, world number 1, reigning world champion. And Brittany Posey-Tanazi, 2023 world champion, multi-time world champion, number 2 in the world. So she is going head-to-head with 2 of the best active resumes in barrel racing that we have in pro rodeo. And once again, she is the only one faster than 17 seconds. She wins the rodeo. She wins $71,000. Mind you, Cassie Mowry won $73,000 for Houston. So this is the equivalent of winning Houston. It triples her money for the year. She had 34,000 plus. She won 71,000 in 1 week in Calgary, which will take her to about $95,000, which they haven't worked out all the math from the WPRA yet, but if my math is correct, she will likely go from number 32 to number 5 in the world. And she did it with 5 runs of 17 seconds or faster. There were only 13 total throughout the Calgary Stampede. So every other barrel racer combined for 8. Furthermore, she beat the top 2 in the world in the showdown. That top 2, Brittany Posey-Tanazi and Cassie Mowry, they had 4 combined runs of 17 seconds or faster. So Anita Ellis on her own had more than the number 1 and number 2 cowgirl, the last 2 world champions combined. And again, this wasn't someone that had been on the radar before and was off the radar. No one had heard a ton about Anita, had heard a ton about Anita Ellis. And now she's probably going to be in the top 5 in the world and probably going to make her first national finals rodeo. Let's go now to a bareback rider who always felt pretty destined for the NFR based on his first 2 seasons. That is Sam Petersen. He finished number 20 in 2023. Finished number 19 in 2023, number 20 in 2024. He made right around 97,000 in both of those years. Well, this year, he is at $117,000. He was number 7 entering the Calgary Stampede. He has quietly moved up to number 5. He has quietly been doing it all season, and he has done it since the Reno finals. He has made $40,000 or so dollars, and he has done it thanks to 14 straight rides of 80 points or more. This past week, he not only got out of his pool at Calgary, which is huge because 70% of the money counted toward the PRCA world standing. So if you just made it out of your pool, if you made it to that 9-man semifinals, it was like winning a mid-sized rodeo. I mean, you were going to make $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 there by doing that. He won a round. He made about $14,000 in Calgary. That comes out to about $11,000 overall toward the world standing. Excuse me, that was just in his pool. So if you go back, he made 18-ish thousand in Calgary, 12, 13 toward the world standings, but he was far from finished over the weekend. A lot of good rodeos in Wyoming this past weekend. Casper, Sheridan, Laramie, a good little Wyoming swing. Well, he dominated that Wyoming swing in the bareback riding. Second in the long round, first in the short round at the Central Wyoming Fair in Casper. Then 91 on Land of Fancy, a great, great Sankey horse to win Sheridan. So he ends up winning Casper. He wins Sheridan. Both of those combined to pay him about $15,000 plus that additional $13,000, $14,000, $15,000. We'll call it about 14. My quick math says that is 29,000 toward the world standings in just the last week. And now at 21 years old, he is up to number 5 in the world. And again, it looks like it. We can never know for sure. But 117, you figure 130 probably gets him in. And he is very close to anointing himself an NFR qualifier. Remember, he was in that rookie class with Dean Thompson, Keenan Hayes, Cade Sunier, and he was just as good as a lot of them for much of the year. So Sam Petersen looks like he is finally going to pay it off, and just goes to show you what can happen this summer. One great stretch of riding from the Reno finals on, but really one really, really good week from July 4th through July 13th in Calgary. And boom, just like that, he was a guy who could have gone either direction and never had the experience coming down the stretch, but he trends in the right direction. Just for 1 week, he trends way in the right direction, goes from number 7 in the world to number 5 in the world. And like I said, this 21-year-old, well on his way to the first of likely many. If you make one at 21 years old after 3 top 20 finishes to start your career, you are off to a great, great start there. Now, finishing off in the team roping, we brought you this story a few weeks ago. Dustin Egusquiza and Levi Lord, after a ton of success roping together, 2 NFRs, 2 top 10 finishes in the world as partners, just could not get enough done at the national finals when they were in world title contention. They choose to go their separate ways, but clearly no hard feelings because they'd already qualified for the NFR Open together, so they didn't have their new partners there. So they were back together just like 2 weeks after deciding they were no longer going to rope together. About 2 weeks later, they go to the NFR Open, and truly like riding a bike for them. Their first one, 11-3, not great. That's not going to get it done. But then a 6-5 gets them through, so they get better on that run. And a 4-8 in the finals wins them the NFR Open, and crucially wins them $13,000. They won about $15K overall there. And so that's interesting, just that they were able to come back together, rejoin up, win the rodeo like it was nothing. But now the top 3 and really the top 4 or 5 in the team roping is really interesting because we appear barreling towards split world champions, or at least an opportunity for it, in terms of just the little difference that Egusquiza and Lord are going to have right now, because Dustin Egusquiza has made $104,387 this season. That has him third on the head side. On the heel side, Levi Lord is $113,014. That puts him second. And Lord is right in front of Travis Graves, who has about $107,000. But his partner, Tanner Tomlinson, has about $114,000. So Egusquiza and Lord not roping together, but $9,000 difference there as past partners. Tomlinson and Graves are roping together, but Tomlinson has about $7,000 more dollars than him. And then Begay and Todd at the top, where Derek Begay leads Tanner Tomlinson by about $4,000, but Coulter Todd leads Levi Lord by about $5,000. So those 3 all make for a really interesting NFR there. And then if you go 1 pair down, Smith and Payne, Clay Smith is number 4. He's got $102,487. And his healer, Colby Payne, also number 4, but he's got $92,773. So Smith has $10,000 more than Payne. And Lord has $9,000 more than Egusquiza, and they're not roping together. But what if one of their partners doesn't make the NFR? Both their partners don't make the NFR. Then they're roping together again. Whereas Tomlinson has 7,000 more than his partner Graves. So if you see all of this, it's a lot of numbers and it's a lot to process. And we'll pop up the standings here so you can see all of that. But all of that being said, throughout the top four right now, and there's a pretty clear line between the top four and the rest of the competition on both the head side and the heel side. Through all of the top four right now, only Begay and Todd, the world number ones, actually have the same amount of money. So if we're in a situation like we had last year, where teams are constantly within $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 all the way through until round 10 of the NFR. Well, last year's pretty easy to figure out because Proctor and Medlin were roping together. Wade and Thorpe were roping together. All the contenders were actually roping together, which is the case this year. But those contenders don't have the exact same amounts of money. So I'm just putting in our radar down the stretch and putting in our radar throughout the NFR. It is going to be a headache to do this math. And I just want, for the first time since I believe 2019, just get the idea that split world champions may be on the menu come round 10 of this year's National Finals Rodeo. That is it for our July 16th show here on No Huddle Rodeo. Thank you to Runyon's Fine Furniture. Thank you to Justin Boots. If you haven't checked it out, we changed up the format of the morning kick a little bit, really trying to do a little more storytelling type stuff there. So we had a good one come out this morning about the Nashville Stampede's improbable world title run in the first year of PBR teams. We hope you continue to check out those morning kicks every morning here on US Cowboy, and then check out No Huddle Rodeo, whipping you around all of the coverage between the PRCA and the PBR all summer long here on US Cowboy. Thank you for joining us. We will see you to wrap up our week on YouTube tomorrow on US Cowboy.